I'm with Cassandra. Cassandra is a wife of Philip and mother to a 3-year-old little girl, and was nominated by a mutual friend that we have. So I'm grateful that you're willing to do this amidst quarantine time. Um, Cassandra, I know little about you, but I do know that you have had 4 heart surgeries.
Mhm.
So tell me, is that something you were born with, or at
Mhm.
what point did that kind of get introduced into your life?
I was actually born with it, tetralogy of Fallot, which is 4 birth defects in one. So, woohoo!
Oh,
Um, and they discovered it when I was about 6 months old, when I was living in San Diego. It was actually a retired Navy surgeon was walking by the waiting room where my mom was and was like, "You need to get that baby to a cardiologist." And then it kind of went, it snowballed from there. Had my first surgery when I was 6 months, second one when I was about a year or year and a half, then another one when I was like 2 or 3, and then my last one when I was 17. But because of my condition, I'll have to have another one. It's just a matter of time. So
oh
just
wow. So can you
deal with.
explain to me what exactly is it in your heart that is deficient? What isn't working properly?
I have my pulmonary artery is too small for me, and so that needs to be. It needs that's the one that needs to periodically be replaced. And so right now I actually have a donor pulmonary artery and valve. And then I have half of my heart is a little bit enlarged, and then I also have a thickening of the cardiac wall, and then there's also a there was it has been repaired. Um, the Everybody's pretty much born with a hole that goes between the ventricles.
Hmm.
Mine never closed,
Okay.
and so they went in, and that was, I think, my second, no, third surgery is when they fully repaired that.
So you said that there will be more surgeries in the future, surgeries plural or at least one, and what was
Plural. I mean, they don't really know. I mean, the biggest is the pulmonary artery, just because it's not mine, it builds up plaque a lot quicker than the average person. And so that's why it kind of needs to be replaced. I mean, they can go in and they can try to do a stent, and they can try to do various different uh, procedures to help that out, but it's just kind of like inevitable that it's going to need to be completely replaced.
wow. So do they give you a timeline on that? How long they think it will last?
No, that's why I go see the cardiologist pretty much every year.
Okay.
It's just kind of a monitoring uh, type of thing. And, you know, um, when my exercise tolerance and so forth just tanks, that's a pretty good indication.
Wow. Yeah, for sure. So then you had your last surgery when you were 17, rehab after that, and the amount of work that you've put in since. I know exercise is really important to you, and staying healthy. Tell me what is your motivation for that rehabilitation and your healthy lifestyle? That's a lot of work. So tell me what motivates you for that.
um, Aside from the addiction of being addicted to exercise, I think for me is probably I don't want to be cracked open like a lobster again, or anytime soon. So the healthier that I live my life, the least, I get to see my cardiologist, and the more of a boring patient I am, that's better.
Sure.
And so, I mean, I joke a lot with my cardiologist that, I'm boring, I'm sorry, but if I really wanted to, throw it in there, I could, start smoking and drinking and maybe even doing some recreational drugs, just, help them out. But yeah, I don't like hospitals. I don't like surgeries. You know, um, I don't want to go through that anytime soon. And so the more I push, the better. And I think also it's kind of hard to describe, but being someone who, has been through surgeries and has seen and has felt the fact that, this might be your last one. This might, in the sense that you might not make it. You might be that 10%. I think it's a big case of, what is it called? Kids say these days, FOMO,
Yeah.
that fear of missing out. I think for me, it's a big thing, because to me, it's just kind of like, I've been given this gift of life, and I don't want to waste it, and so, I mean, that doesn't mean I'm going to be doing stupid things, although I do want to go, I want to jump out of an airplane. I want to, it's just that I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie too. And I think that's a lot of times where my husband and I clash, because he doesn't understand. Well, why do you have to go and plan like a 15-mile backpacking trip in one day? Because I can. And that's probably the biggest thing, is I can.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to be able to do everything you can do because you can do it. That's really cool. That's powerful. Okay, so obviously, you've got FOMO and you're living your life to your fullest, and that's incredible. Do you think about your heart on a regular basis? Are you constantly kind of checking back in with yourself about that, or does it like hardly cross your mind? What's your relationship?
It hardly I mean, it's where it's a part of my life, but it's not my life. Like, it's not the focus. Like, yes, I have to go and see my cardiologist once a year. I have to be cognizant of, if I'm having, irregular heartbeats, is that just baseline? Am I sitting here on the couch doing absolutely nothing and it's happening? Or is it, oh, I haven't really drank much water today, or it's unfortunately, like my time of the month, so my blood pressure is already low, kind of thing. But it's not like this, oh, I can't go ride that roller coaster because I have a heart condition. I'm the first one in line. It doesn't dictate my life. It's a part of my life, though.
Okay, that's really cool. I think it'd be hard not to take that on as like a big part of your identity, but that sounds like such a healthy relationship with it. That's cool. Correct me if I'm saying this wrong. I think you said that, having a future family was a consideration in thinking about, going forward with more surgeries. Tell me about that.
Well, I mean, it wasn't that I couldn't have kids. It was just that it was going to put me at high risk, because with just normal pregnancies, your heart enlarges, right? Because you're pumping blood for two, essentially, and so it enlarges, and it just puts a lot of stress on the heart, naturally and just normally on healthy hearts. Okay. And so you take my heart, which is, a little battered, a little bruised, already somewhat enlarged, and you throw pregnancy on top of that. It was a kind of a, well, we're not, I mean, going forward, it was, you're healthy, your heart is healthy, and so it's just kind of, for all intents and purposes, we can move forward, but we're going to have to monitor, like, I think I was going to the cardiologist between every like 3 and 6 months. Plus I was seeing my OB like every week, so it was pretty intense in that sense, even though I didn't feel, physically inadequate or physically, not healthy. But it was just that monitoring, because, I could have stroked out, I could have thrown a blood clot, I could have, my heart could have gone into congestive heart failure. I mean, all this other stress that happens, that potentially could happen in a normal pregnancy, was just compounded.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. That makes you super high risk for sure. So tell me about what that conversation was like with you and your husband deciding to go through this and risk that.
Well, I think it was just kind of like, well, I know I'm healthy. My cardiologist gave us the green light, and they were going to be with us through every step. And I had a very good team in Mississippi. This is my Mississippi queen. That's where she came from. I had a very good team in Mississippi. And so it was just kind of like, all right, let's do it. I mean, I don't think I was scared, because I've been through surgeries, I've been through hospital, so it was, to me, it's just kind of like more of not being able to being as active as I normally am, but it wasn't like any additional restriction on me being pregnant. My husband on the other side, on the other hand, he, I don't, because I had to have a C-section. Um, I don't think he was fully prepared for that.
Yeah.
Being in the actual OR, with me, and then, me reacting to the epidural and so forth, and then me just saying, go with Eleanor, go, follow the baby, and he's just like, but, and I just kind of pass out. I think he was just like, but luckily I had a really good OB who, was my advocate, and, she made sure that, regardless of what happened to me, he was with Eleanor, and I think once he got that through his head, he was like, okay, my job is Eleanor, and so that helped.
Oh, that sounds so traumatic for a new father. That's so scary. Oh man. So you and your husband have decided to only have one child. You only have Eleanor. And was the heart condition a major factor in that, or what was that decision like?
Actually, my heart was healthier during pregnancy. Ironically, it actually did my heart better to be pregnant. I am one of those, I just didn't enjoy pregnancy, to be honest. Like, I have friends who just, they have 6 kids because they just love being pregnant, and that's just not me. And I'm a big type A personality, and having the one, I'm good. I'm good. I mean, there are times where I'm kind of like, oh, because she's getting older and she's starting to ask, like, oh, well, how come I don't have a brother? How come I don't have a sister? And I'm like, oh, but to me, that's not why I would want to have another kid, to get her a playmate. It would, because I can find her friends. I can, like, we can find kids that she can play with.
Mhm. Okay, so you are a working mom, but you've said that you have a pretty great setup. So tell me kind of how that works for you.
I work for WSU in entomology. I coordinate their outreach. Entomology, bugs, insects, and stuff. They those departments usually have a lot of outreach because a lot of schools and stuff really, they always make at least one unit in their curriculum about bugs or something. And so we get called on a lot to either give tours in our museum, or, to give talks to, like gardeners, or just the general public, or schools and stuff. And so I coordinate all that, unfortunately not in the age of Rona, but um, I also do some stuff for mental health for the department, like coffee hours, and we were doing happy hours for a little bit via Zoom, and I do the newsletter and stuff. Um, I mean, it's no major hours by any means, but it's something that I can bring in some cash, and if I have a meeting, they're okay with me bringing Eleanor and stuff. And then, if I have outreach activities, she can come with me, because 9 times out of 10, it's at a school or it's at WSU's like children's center, so they're fine with an extra kid.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
works right now.
Yeah, that sounds like a great setup. That's really neat. So I'm always interested hearing from working moms and non-working moms. Why did you choose to keep working?
I stayed home for the first 2.5, 3 years practically. I mean, I just started doing this job last January or so, thereabouts. And it kind of just fell in my lap. It wasn't something I was seeking. Um, I don't, we're fortunate enough that I don't have to work. Um, I want to work. I'm, that older mom category. And so I had a career prior to having Eleanor, and I miss it, but there's other aspects of being able to stay home with her, and that I know that just throwing her in daycare all day, I'd miss out on, you know? But I also feel for those working moms too, because they want to have best of both worlds, and balance the work-life balance.
Yeah, lucky you to have found something like this that kind of fills that need, at least for now. Okay, so you work largely from home.
Mm-hmm.
You stay home with your 3-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
I think you work out with your 3-year-old a lot of the time. So so you're with your daughter a lot. She's a part of every
My shadow.
So tell me, do you ever feel like you need a break from that, or how do you get your recharge?
Yes. I also do. I'm part of Latos Search and Rescue. I'm part of the canine unit. I run a search and rescue dog. So that is part of my break, because she doesn't. Well, lately she's been coming to a lot of our trainings. She likes to hide for the dogs.
Cool.
Not by herself yet, but she will, because we need that child's perspective of the wandering subject. She still has a couple years yet, so that is a little bit of a reprieve when I don't get to bring her with me. And then I don't get a lot of breaks. Like I might get an hour here, hour there.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I think so many moms can relate to that, like never getting a break from just being on as a mom. I think that's so hard, especially in the time of coronavirus. I think we're all feeling that a lot more than usual.
I really liked what you said about always having to be on, like, because it's like when, you're always on as a mom or a wife or, significant other or what have you, like you don't just get that me time, like you don't get to, because it's like the kids go to bed and then your husband's like, okay, let's talk, or let's, whatever. And you're just like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to do anything. I just want to be by myself. Until it's like, then it's like, okay, then you go to bed and you're like, oh yay, and then you get woken up, so it's never, and I think there are some husbands out there that understand, but I think a majority of them don't fully understand what it means to be constantly on.
All right. Well, this has been super fun and really interesting to get to know you a little bit better, Cassandra, and get to pick your brain. Are you ready for some speed round questions? Oh, I like the rubbing of the hands. Cassandra, what's your favorite sound?
My favorite sound is probably nature. Just being outside, the birds, if you're near a river, just outside, not the human noises of the honking the horns or whatever, just nature.
Amen to that. That's awesome. What's your least favorite sound?
Oh gosh. My gut says the whining incessant mommy, 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 mommy. But I'm like, oh, that wouldn't be very good. But I'm gonna have to go with my gut on that one.
Whining, you're allowed to not enjoy whining. What's your favorite word?
Love.
That's a good choice. What do you know?
Nothing.
What do you want to learn?
Everything. I mean, in the sense of how to be more compassionate, more mindful, more empathetic.
Like that. Compassionate, mindful, empathetic. That's neat. Cassandra, what scares you?
Probably inconsiderate and selfish people.
That's a great answer too. Tell me about a mom you admire.
All of them. I honestly, that when you sent me those questions, that was the first thing that came on my mind, is regardless of those moms that probably shouldn't be moms, and then there's those Pinterest moms, you're just like, seriously. you know, it's like I would have never said that before I became a mom, but now that I am and I'm part of the club, it's we all have our struggles. We all have different outlooks on life. We all, you know, see things differently, and I think being a mom and momming and just it's hard. You know, I think all moms should be praised, and we're not paid enough.
Well, thank you. I think you just summed up all of what I try to do in my interviews. So that's a completely valid answer. Absolutely. Moms are incredible.
Mhm.
Good at, Cassandra.
Whew. Cooking, baking, feeding people. I love to feed people.
I'm glad we live in the same town. That's sounds good. Thank you so much, Cassandra.
Thank you.